Previously on Make Cool Shit.
So the movie is all shot.
I was $26,000 in the hole.
Josh is leaving this shoot broke.
We cut a teaser together.
Use that to raise the remaining funds.
The editor brings a fresh set of eyes.
Patrick Lawrence, he's got the Midas touch.
This is what it looks like from my eyes.
Great City Post.
Build a world with the sound.
I'm working with Chris Maxwell, our composer.
We get the first cut. Wow.
Other people watch his movie and they judge it.
This movie's gonna fucking work.
Hosted by Aaron Kheifest. This is Make Cool Shit.
From the beginning, Josh said his and Brendan's goal was to make a feature film, one that they could be proud of. And they're finishing up the post process, so they've done that. Mission accomplished. But if they ever want the chance to do this again with other people's money, something else needs to happen. The goal isn't to just make a film, it's to get it seen.
The goal would be get it into theaters for a limited run, because that'd be fun as hell.
And that means distribution. According to the handbook, an independent filmmaker will generally sell their film to a distributor. That company would then handle all the distribution and marketing. For many productions, there are several distribution paths. A feature might be seen in theaters, in living rooms on TV, and in noisy coffee shops on phones and tablets.
The first thing is, once we've locked it, quote unquote, is getting it into a festival.
Typically, the first step for a finished indie is the festival circuit. It's a place to raise industry awareness, get some press, and brush shoulders with distributors looking to acquire new movies. There are hundreds of festivals worldwide, but there are only a handful at the top, including Berlin, Cannes, New York, Toronto, and Sundance.
I've not been this stressed out about acceptances and rejections since the college process.
That's Dan Powell from Irony Point, who's producing Scare Me.
What if we don't get in anywhere? And then you start to panic, what if just everyone says no?
Getting into a top festival would mean a shot at top distributors. Maybe a theatrical run, maybe international distribution, basically tons of people seeing this movie. But before they can worry too much about that, something kind of crazy happens.
Josh is repped by ICM, the agency.
That's Alex Bach, also from Irony Point.
ICM, when the film was close to being finished, started sending it around to potential distributors. And that thing that they were sending out was not actually the finished film. It was
basically a trailer, and it was a great piece of tape. Again, the intention was just to use it to get completion funds. My suspicion is the rep saw it, saw how good it looked, and decided, let's use this to drum up some potential early interest from distributors.
ICM sent that around to various production companies, investors, and Shudder was on the list. And Shudder actually made an offer off of 2 minutes of tape.
They're AMC's horror channel, so they're like a horror Netflix owned by AMC. But they also have The Shining and Halloween. They license really cool classics as well.
They saw the trailer and that it was really good, and they got excited.
Shudder has offered to buy the rights for North America, the UK, and Ireland. Getting a good distribution deal is absolutely the goal. But taking the first distribution deal you're offered isn't always the best idea, because distribution doesn't always mean distribution.
Our first film, I had a lot of issues with how it was distributed, but I think the most disappointing thing about it was knowing that there's literally hundreds of thousands of people out there who would love this movie and have never heard of it. They're just not even aware of it.
For a little context, go to your favorite streaming service and scroll down to the 3 and below star horror films. You will find hundreds of terribly rated horror films you've never heard of, and basically nobody else has ever heard of either. And those are the success stories. Those are the ones that actually got some kind of distribution. You are looking at kind of the cream of the crop of horror movies that get made. Now, go to YouTube and look for independent horror movies. You will find untold thousands of projects that never got distribution, never found a home anywhere, never found any way to make any significant amount of their money back. That's where most things end. That is the fate of most independent movies.
Our sales rep was like, look, it's a really tough market. They always say it's a really tough market, just so you know. And this is a pretty good offer, and it's possible that they may see the cut and not
Like it. Yeah.
like it. Yeah. And we're like, we want to play the field. And they're like, don't play the field. Don't play the field.
I haven't heard of many films that sold into distribution off of basically a trailer. I'm sure it has happened. You know, I think artistically we take a lot of risks, but I think financially we tend to be more conservative. And to me, a safe and solid offer is always better than what's behind door number 2.
Getting a distribution offer before festivals is extremely flattering, but it also presents a bit of a dilemma. If they take the deal before going to a festival, they'll never know what could have happened.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, you have to weigh, like, you don't know what festivals you're going to get into.
Shudder, to their credit, did kind of the equivalent of like betting blind. You know, they read the script, of course, so they knew what the rest of the movie was, but they didn't know how it would actually turn out, you know, and I think it was a pretty bold move on their part.
It means a lot that Shudder is making this offer so early. You want someone who wants you, who's going to feature your movie on their platform. You don't want to end up on that indie movie scrap heap.
Horror storytelling is kind of one of the oldest forms of storytelling, you know, even back to kind of campfire tales, that tingle in your shoulder or that like weird feeling in your stomach.
And to see their level of interest, listen to how Sam Zimmerman, curator for Shudder, describes Scare Me.
Scare Me really captures that energy of looking someone in the eye and telling them a story, and that has never been lost, and I love it. And Scare Me has so many layers, and that is one of the most essential ones.
But the question is, how good will this distributor be at getting eyeballs on your film?
So really what distribution means is coming on, acquiring the rights to a film from theatrical to streaming to transactional, which is off of VOD or iTunes, with our focus being Shudder, the main one. That's where we want people to come love the world of Shudder, find other things to watch, get into the genre in a bigger way.
Sometimes the business model is you buy a certain number of films, knowing most are probably not going to succeed, but if one has that lightning in a bottle, becomes a runaway hit, it makes up for all the losses and then some and subsidizes the rest of the business. The failure of these films is built into the business model a little bit.
Josh and a ton of people around him have poured their hearts and souls into this thing. It would suck to not have it be seen by a bunch of people.
By the way, our agent, not only does he represent the filmmaker, but he represents our main investor. So we have to either say like, nah, we're going to risk it in the marketplace while our investors are aware that there's money on the table. And all of our reps came right out of the gate and were like, we strongly recommend you take it. And that's what we're going to recommend to your investors.
Here's Eamon Downey from Last Rodeo, one of the financiers of Scare Me. His company has a real stake in this thing doing well. So when we talk about Scare Me making its money back, it's their money. Here he is on how a deal with Shudder might work.
A distributor wants to make money as well, and you make money in the theaters. In the ideal world, it has that kind of limited release strategy where it starts for a week in New York, LA, Chicago, and then we expand to other markets, see how it does. Then Shudder gets to put it up on their streaming platform, and hopefully it gets them a shit ton of subscribers.
Ultimately, it's Josh who's got to make the final call. It's his baby. And here he is calling his co-star, Chris Redd, to share where he landed on it.
Did I tell you that the movie was bought off of 2 minutes of footage?
Yeah, bro. I was so excited. I was like, who is that premature buyer? I don't know. That's amazing, man.
It was calculated when we took the Shudder deal as well, because we were hopeful that also the Shudder brand or the Shudder seal of approval, you know, means a lot to horror fans.
Streaming services are interesting because a lot of ways the best marketing is when it's actually released, because you have something to point people to. It's less anticipatory. You're interested, now you can go watch it now. So a lot of heavy marketing from Shudder happens once the film premieres.
And where that premiere is going to happen is another big call. When we come back from break, festivals. They've made the movie, they've sold the movie, and now they just have to get regular people to want to watch the movie. Which means, of course, they're competing against big-budget studio horror movies. What might make you want to watch an indie horror flick instead of the latest by Guillermo del Toro? Well, a festival win wouldn't hurt.
As an indie film director who's making their first film for well under $500,000, Sundance is the dream. That's the goal. Even if the film makes no money and is a flop, that's the victory.
I did famously say, if this movie doesn't get into Sundance, I'm going to kill myself. Which Dan was like, you better step off the ledge, my friend.
You know, I never thought that something that Shudder would buy would get a premiere at Sundance.
I get the phone call. Hi, is this Josh? And I said, yes. And he said, hi, I'm Charlie Sextro from the Sundance Film Festival. And I said, hi. And he said, I would love Scare Me to play our midnight category here at Sundance 2020. And I said, well, you just made my goddamn year. I can't remember who I called first. I might have called Alex Bach first.
I was in our offices and I heard Alex start screaming in the next office over.
I basically make an attempt to call every one of our crew members. You guys did this.
Alex burst into my office and I knew exactly what had happened.
That was a really great day. It felt incredible to feel validated as a creator. Yeah, it was mind-blowing.
And we celebrated and Alex got to stay alive.
Really big news is that we got into Sundance.
That's huge news.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really big news.
Seriously, Alex, what am I going to wear?
I'm going full on cowboy. I'm going to get a cowboy suit.
There was a nice winter jacket I'd been eyeing, but I was like, I can't afford this or I don't deserve it. And then Hugo Boss, bright blue, shiny.
And a cowboy shirt and wear cowboy boots. And I'm going to get a big fur coat.
So that jacket was my gift to myself when we got into Sundance.
And who knows, maybe even a cowboy hat. And I'm just going to go full on like I'm in a rock band and I just am going through a cowboy phase.
I like it. I'll join you. I'll be in your band.
Hell yeah.
This is awesome.
That's awesome.
We are going to Sundance. So yeah, I'm beside myself. And I'm trying to stay cool.
It doesn't get any better than this. Yeah, the programmer loved it. I guess he called Josh and basically said, we're going to play in the midnight section.
You know, one of the things on my bucket list was going to Sundance with a movie that I was either in or I had made.
There's also another reason to go to Sundance that we have not yet discussed. It's a fucking blast.
And happening now, one of Utah's biggest events kicks off today in Park City. The Sundance Film Festival brings in 124,000 visitors during its short 10-day span.
It's that time of the year when Hollywood types leave the palm trees behind, grab their parkas, and come here to Park City, Utah for the Sundance Film Festival.
Sundance is the festival in the U.S. where indie filmmakers and upcoming writers, actors, and directors rub elbows with the established pros in the industry, the heavy hitters. And also, Donnie and Dan are there.
So Donnie, we're here. We made it to Sundance. Tell me a little about your trip.
So we picked up our press passes, which aren't press passes at all.
No.
They're film crew passes.
I think they could have put a little more effort into them.
Press passes would have given us access to the entire festival. Everything we needed to do, everything we wanted to see. And from our email chain, that's what we were expecting.
Just sex them up a little.
I know. I mean, face it, everybody wants a laminate. The crew passes, they limit our access to just the Scare Me premiere at the Egyptian Theater. At least that's what we thought. We're at 7,000 feet altitude.
I don't feel affected. Do you?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel a little bit.
I do feel hungry.
What do you think about this restaurant over here, Adolph's?
We can't eat at a place called Adolph's.
No, we can't eat at a place called Adolph's.
He said there was all kinds of food down here.
New York style pizza, do you believe it?
Nope. This can't be Main Street, right?
Main Street is the place to be after sundown. There's a ton of fancy restaurants and cocktail bars, all playing host to exclusive private parties. Some more exclusive than others. One of those parties is for Scare Me, which is premiering later that night at the famed Egyptian Theater, right in the heart of the action.
This is Donnie Dykowski coming at you from the premiere party for Scare Me. I'm with producer and head of content, Dan Strong. Once again, people do not want to be interviewed at a party. And
these guys over here just pointed at us with discontent.
That might have nothing to do with the podcast.
We got the premiere later tonight, and it'll be exciting to let a whole bunch of people see the film for the first time.
Oh my God, Alex Bach.
How are you?
I'm schwitzing a little bit.
No, me too.
Oh, guys, hey!
Josh Ruben, have you been to Sundance before?
I went to Slam Dance. Last time I was here, Heath Ledger died, so everybody's Palm Pilots went off.
How about Freaknik? Have you been to Freaknik?
No.
I'm here with Patrick Lawrence, editor for Scare Me.
There's a big buzz going all around town about Scare Me.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. We're doing the company podcast to scare me.
I can't do this right now.
I'm here with Brian Steinberg.
Don't do it. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
And what brings you to this Scare Me pre-party event?
They have an open bar, so...
The bar's open? Oh, I didn't hear that. I'll get a drink.
Scare Me has a coveted midnight premiere tonight at the Egyptian Theater. The Egyptian opened its doors on Christmas Day, 1926. It's a historic landmark. Its decor was inspired by the recent discovery of King Tut's tomb, adorned with lotus leaves, scarabs, and hieroglyphics. Soon, visitors and staffers reported hearing the echoes of disembodied footsteps across the stage, saw doors fly open on their own, and apparently encountered terrifying screams from the balcony. My producers want me to say that it's haunted, and that goes against everything that I stand for. But yeah, it's haunted.
I just had a tour of the upstairs.
You did?
Yeah. Got a little bit of a
any
history.
experience? Anything?
I mean, I get creeped out by almost anything, so I just want to believe.
There is a guy that died, got electrocuted on our marquee, and he haunts the theater, but we call him Edwina. My name's Jen Silva. I work for the Egyptian Theater. Ghost hunters actually came in and did a testing on our 3rd floor. They say, when they did their recording, a ghost said, "My name is not Edwina."
You can't get much better than premiering your horror movie at the Egyptian Theater at midnight at Sundance. It's perfect. If you can find a seat.
While Donnie was on the ghost tour, we found out that our crew passes did not give us the access that we thought they did.
Yeah, sitting down in the theater requires a hard ticket. That's every theater's policy in all of Sundance.
What they need to get in is a hard ticket or a press pass. Whoops.
Sure, we get you guys where you're supposed to be and we'll get you connected properly. We're prepared for it. All my bosses are starting to give me the answers that they've been figuring out, so information trickles down.
We can't sit on the floor in there. We can't peek through the door. We can't record in there. So where are you going to put us?
There's one woman who is God above me. She's coming. She could be the one to answer any question I have.
And now it's going to come down to Carolyn.
Mike, your thoughts?
I just want to go to sleep. I'm so tired.
And the woman who was God above was presentation manager for Sundance, Carolyn Kaler. And she basically saves the day. She places us in a small private balcony directly next to the projection area. Not ideal for watching the film, but it was ideal for us to watch the audience watch the film for the first time.
Well, here we are, Sundance Film Festival 2020. Dan just saw Edwina?
It was weird. I was just peeing. All of a sudden, the toilet just starts to close. And it hadn't done that. It wasn't like it was one that you had to keep holding up. And then I held it up and it stayed fine.
Did you pee on the toilet?
I did get a little on the toilet seat.
My name's Adam Montgomery. I am a senior manager of programming for the festival. I also program the midnight section. There is no better place to be than the Egyptian Theater at 15 to midnight. Let me tell you that. You guys are in the right place. So tonight we are going to get super hyped up for Scare Me. That's what I'm talking about. This is a film that just has such an amazing cast, so beautifully written, so many amazing comedic moments. And as a team, we watched this movie and we were just like, yeah, we're going to play that. That's so amazing. So first of all, I want to bring up the director of Scare Me and the writer and the star of Scare Me, Josh Ruben.
Thank you so much for coming. This movie wouldn't be possible without Dan Powell and Alex Bach and the folks at Irony Point, Last Rodeo Studios, and Shudder. But this movie would not be possible without my cinematographer and my creative collaborator, Brendan Banks. Brendan Banks, he just got engaged. Woo! This screening is for Brendan. There's a Q&A after. Please stick around. Thank you so much.
As the lights are going down, there's a representative at Sundance who's like, okay, Mr. Rubin, I'm going to be in direct contact with the projectionist. If you want me to make any adjustments to the volume, please let me know. I was like, holy shit. I couldn't believe I had, my personal volume raiser.
writer.
What's your name?
Devin. Devin the troll?
That's an awfully modern name, Devin the troll.
Actually, I think since Carlo is our guest, he should be the one to decide who tells the story and what it's about.
Do one about dead babies. Right?
Kill the children and their mothers. Kill your sisters and your brothers. And then let's kill ourselves.
The response is everything they could have hoped for. It's literally a lifelong dream come true for Josh and Alex and basically everybody involved with this movie.
When you invest in a first-time filmmaker, financially, you put your name on a film, you're also investing in that person's career. Like everybody on this podcast has said, we thought Josh was wildly talented and we knew that he was going to hit. It was just a matter of when.
Please welcome back the director of Scare Me, Josh Ruben.
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone who worked on the film, please come up. Patrick Lawrence, my amazing editor. Brendan Banks, my cinematographer. The amazing I guess.
I mean, the dialogue feels like so specific to the Fanny character, and how much of that was like written in a script and how much did you guys come up with like on the spot?
It was a real mixture of both. I mean, there was moments for improv, and Josh is not precious, and best idea wins, so there was a lot of collaboration.
I watched everything as a kid. Tales from the Dark Side, The Howling, American Werewolf in London, Tales from the Crypt. I love everything from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to Defending Your Life and Jaws.
This is my first time at Sundance, and I hope I can, thank you. And it's hard to follow Hillary Clinton. This is crazy.
Thank you guys so much for coming out.
Thank you guys.
Enjoy the rest of your festival.
Josh did it. He gambled and he actually made the thing. It all came together. And judging by everyone's reaction at Sundance, he's going to get to keep making it.
I met James L. Brooks when I was in college. He said something that I just have always remembered, which is the awards are great. They're really nice. I'm not going to deny that it's, a really fun part of this job. But when you make a movie, the only thing you really want out of it is for when it's all over, that you're in a position to make another movie. That's really what you want. You haven't performed in such a way that you don't get to make another film.
Totally. You really have to take a moment to be like, damn, I can't believe we even raised the money to get into production. Damn, I can't believe we finished production given all of these hurdles. Wow, we got money to finish it. Wow, somebody wants to buy it. Holy shit, we got into a festival. Every step of the way, the odds were against us.
And so, everybody gets to ride off into the sunset. Chris Redd is still on SNL and still doing features, plus a new sitcom with Kenan Thompson, where he plays Gary.
Gary is a younger version of me if I did not care to evolve as a person. Everybody who is deemed crazy or wild, there's an intelligence to them, and there's something deeper to them than just being that. And I just really like exploring those different kind of sides.
Aya Cash landed an incredible part on season 2 of The Boys on Amazon, and seems to be just doing bigger and bigger things.
And the critics' choice is Aya Cash, The Boys.
In terms of the role, I think it's actually given me so much more than I ever would have expected. I feel like the bad guys get to do the real fun stuff.
Becky Drysdale left her job as head writer of The Tonight Show after 7 months, making her, she claims, the shortest-lived head writer in the history of that show. She's now in London, working on a super-secret project she wasn't allowed to tell us about. But between you and me, they don't keep the small, shitty movies super secret. I'm sure we'll be hearing about it soon. And Brendan Banks, Scare Me seems to have opened up a lot of doors for him.
Since Scare Me, I've been able to jump onto a bunch of really amazing projects, whether it's shorts or documentaries or whatever, but I'm really, really excited for whatever the next feature-length narrative project is.
And for Steve Stodchill in Last Rodeo,
at least as it involves our company, Last Rodeo Studios, Eamon spent, I don't know how much time looking through over 100 different projects last year, and we let these two movies, Scare Me and Save Yourselves. And I mean, I know there are thousands of submissions to Sundance every year, and we were two of the films that were selected. So I think that's a pretty good track record right out of the blocks for us.
For Alex Bach and Dan Powell at Irony Point, Scare Me was a huge win.
For Alex and I, we feel like after Scare Me, we are in a better position to make our next film than we were beforehand. I think our days of producing sub-$1 million films are definitely over. And on the TV side, we just signed a deal with Netflix. You know, we have a show with them called I Think You Should Leave. We've done a couple other projects for Netflix, and they've become a really great home for us.
And as for Josh,
because I made this film, other producers saw it, pitched my name to a way bigger company. I got my next gig, and now I have 2 movies within a year and a half under my belt, which is it's so insane and such a privileged position to be in that luck is not lost on me one bit. And now I'm living more of my dream than I thought I could live.
So how is the Werewolf project coming along?
It's amazing. I guess I've found my brand.
Right now, I am preparing to release Werewolves Within into the world with the help of IFC.
Werewolves Within is based on a video game of the same name for Ubisoft, a huge international entertainment company. He's proven himself as a director, as a writer, and as a star. From here, the doors are wide open. Good on you, Josh.
There's a really amazing article that came out, The Hollywood Reporter, that compared Werewolves Within to Clue and John Carpenter, to the work of John Carpenter, which is a major compliment. We're slated right now to debut in theaters June 25th.
I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times. We've worked with a lot of people. Josh remains to be just the world's loveliest human being.
And as for Donnie, Mike, Dan, and me, we're figuring out what the next season of this show will be about. What we're going to bring you next in a story of process, art, and determination. Also, you can hire me in commercials if you want.
If there were a piece of advice I would give to filmmakers and aspiring filmmakers, if you don't exercise your craft, if you don't just keep making stuff, then all of these other people around you are going to have so much more experience, so much more growth in their art and their career and their learnings, and you're going to get left behind. You just have to keep making stuff.
If I could impart any advice to someone out there who might want to do what I have done, not just filmmaking, not necessarily just creative, but in your life, you're going to meet people who want to work with you and that you want to work with. Build your tribe of friends. Those friends that make you laugh, those friends that trust you and that you trust and that you want to be in the trenches with, because they will be the ones to help you take that gamble on yourself to do that thing you've always wanted to do and make shit. Hey, there you go. Make cool shit.
Make Cool Shit is executive produced by Mike Bulger and Donnie Dykowski. Produced, written, and edited by Donnie Dykowski, Aaron Kheifest, and Dan Strong for MCS Media. Music and sound design by the Ski Team. See you next season on Make Cool Shit.